Okay, now on the assignment I got three problems. Number one, we have x to the third minus 11x to the second minus 9x plus 99 equals 0. So there's three answers. The reason for that is you got x to the second. With x to the third, with x to the second, with x, with a constant. So it's four terms, so grouping, okay? Again, you have four terms, not a factor, okay? Because you have the x to the third term, you have the x to the second term, you have the x term, and you have the constant term, C-O-N, that's the 99. So you have four terms, okay? So four terms, you apply the grouping. So parentheses plus parentheses, you set that up. This is your setup. Line parentheses plus line parentheses, and on those lines, label those lines GCF. And then make one parentheses with a line, and on that line you put a smaller parentheses. That's how you set up four terms to be factored. Equals 0 here at the end. So you put 1x cubed minus 11x to the second. Then make that a plus negative 9, so you have a plus, because that's always what you put there. The negative 9x plus 99. Okay, now figure out the GCF out of these two. 1 and 11 would be just 1, and x third and x second, you have an x second here, so you put x to the second. Now you go up and divide by 1x to the second. That cancels. You have 1. X third divided by x second is x minus 11. So that's the first part. Now the GCF out of these two, well, if we have a negative at the beginning, you need to put a negative in your GCF. And then 9 and 99, look at the ninth row, and 99's in that row, so you want to do a 9. You don't put an x with it because that 99 at the end is a constant. It doesn't have an x, so you can't divide by x. You're just going to divide by negative 9. That gives me 1x minus 11. Okay. Now compare your two parentheses. They match. So what you get to do when they match is you get to put 1x minus 11 here one time, cross it out because you're factoring that out of the expression. Then what do you have left? You have 1x to the power of 2 and negative 9. So you write 1x to the second minus 9. Now you're ready to solve it. You set your 1x minus 11 equal to 0. You add 11. Divide by 1, that's still 11. So 11's my first answer. Now, set the second parentheses expression equal to 0. You add 9. 1x to the second equals 9. Divide by the 1. Now, what number times itself is 9? Well, let's find the square root of 9. It's 3. But it could be 3 or negative 3. Okay. Okay, number 2. You got x to the third, put a 1 there, minus 3x to the second, minus 4x plus 12 equals 0. So there are three answers because you have x to the third. So it's a cubic equation. The ABC thing's not going to help you, okay, at the beginning at all on these. Now what else do you have with x to the third? Well, you have an x to the second, you have an x, and you have this number without an x that's known as a constant. So that's four terms, your x third term, your x second, your x, and your constant. So that is four terms, okay? To factor four terms, you use the grouping method. So to line up your grouping, you set two parentheses with a plus sign in the middle. Then you do the same thing, but you put little GCF lines outside. You set this up, you'll be good to go. And finally, you make one parentheses with a line here and a little parentheses on the line. Okay, that's the setup. Now, you group, it's called grouping because you group the 1x to the third minus 3x to the second. Then you make that plus negative, and you've got negative 4x plus 12. Now you do two GCFs, one for this one. So 1 and 3 is 1, and check your last term, it's got x to the second. So you go up and divide by 1x to the second, knowing that these now can cancel. So 1 divided by 1 is 1, x third divided by x second is x, and then minus 3. Now negative 4 and 12, well, you need a negative because you have that first number's a negative. Okay, then 4 and 12, that would be 4, because those are both in the fourth row. You don't put an x with that because there's that constant without an x, so you can't divide by an x. Now go up and divide both these by negative 4. So that's 1 with x. Positive 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3, so minus 3. Now compare your parentheses. They're the same, so you're now allowed to put 1x minus 3, and when you put that, factor that out, you can then cancel those. You have 1x to the second, negative 4, so 1x second minus 4. Put your equals 0 and you're ready to solve. So 1x minus 3 could equal 0. So plus 3, divide by the 1 or not, it's still 3. Okay, then I'm going to get two answers from this. This is just like an AC quadratic expression, okay? Those are easy to solve. So plus 4, divide by the 1 or not, it's still 4. Then you find the square root of the number 4, which is 2. Could be 2 or negative 2. Because x to the second equals 4 means what number times itself would equal 4? Well, it could be 2, it could be negative 2. Okay, then the last one, number 3. X to the third plus x to the second minus 4x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, so you got 3 answers. The reason you have 3 is because you have x to the third. Okay. Now you've also got x with x to the second, x, and the constant. So that is 4 terms. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I have to factor a cubic equation with 4 terms, we need to apply the grouping. Parentheses plus parentheses, then the same thing, just with little lines outside. Then line parentheses, and then not a GCF, put a little parentheses there. Equals 0. Okay, so you've got 1x to the third plus 1x to the second, then negative 4x minus 4, because that's a plus negative up there now. So 1 and 1's 1, but you got x to the second on the second term. 4 and you need a negative. 4 and 4 would just be 4, and that's a constant. The constant's there, so I can't put an x in that GCF. So I divide by 1x to the second. So 1 divided by 1 is 1, x third, x second is x plus 1. Then I go divide by this negative 4 I'm pulling out. So it's 1x plus 1. Okay, so your parentheses match up. Cross them out, and you have 1x to the second minus 4. Okay, and now I can solve it. 1x plus 1 could equal 0. 1x to the second minus 4 could equal 0. Minus 1, that's negative 1. So negative 1's the answer. Then you add 4. Divide by 1 would still be 4. And then I find the square root of 4, because that could be 2 or negative 2. So those are your 3 solutions.